bustling after her. "Come back! Come back!" the nurse cried. "You know you're not allowed out of the palace." "But I want a melon," said the little girl. "And anyway, I don't like being cooped up in that palace all day. I've got no friends to play with and I'm bored." "It's the Doge's daughter," someone whispered, and soon everyone was there, bowing and curtsying as she passed. She ignored them all and made straight for the pile of melons beside Jojo. "How much do you want for one of your melons?" she asked Jojo's master. "Such an honour, Highness, such an honour," replied Jojo's master. "For your Highness, it's a gift. I have the best melons in all of Venice, Highness, and this one is for you." "Thank you," said the Doge's daughter, taking the melon. And then she noticed Jojo standing beside his master. "He has such sad, kind eyes," she said, and she reached out and stroked Jojo on his neck. Jojo had never been patted in all his life, and his knees weakened with joy. "Really, your Highness," said the nurse, taking the Doge's daughter by the arm. "Fancy touching that filthy creature. Can't you see there are flies all over him? Come along back to the palace before your father sees you." And she hustled the little girl away. Jojo closed his eyes and held the picture of the little girl in his mind so that it would never go away. Within a few minutes, all the melons were sold. Suddenly, anyone who was anyone in St. Mark's Square was eating melons. After all, what was good enough for the Doge's daughter was good enough for them. So every day that summer, Jojo came to St. Mark's Square loaded with melons and stood under the 4 golden horses in front of the cathedral. And every day the Doge's daughter came out at noon for her melon. And every time she came, she never failed to smile at Jojo. She would always talk gently to him and smooth his nose before she left. Chapter 3. One afternoon, while his master dozed under his hat and the whole city slumbered through the heat of the day, Jojo was gazing up at the 4 shining golden horses in St. Mark's Square, as he often did. They were everything the donkey longed to be, but never could be. "Oh, why can't I be like you?" he cried. His master woke from his snoring sleep and beat him. "How dare you wake me like that?" he roared. "No use talking to those horses. Can't you see they're nothing but statues? Statues can't hear, statues can't speak." But Jojo knew they could. The very next morning, just after Jojo and his master arrived in the square, the great Doge came to the window of his palace. Trumpets sounded, and a crowd gathered to listen. "Be it known to one and all," said the Doge, "that I intend to purchase the finest horse in the city for my daughter's birthday. A price of 10,000 ducats will be paid. The horse will be chosen at noon this very day, for today is my daughter's birthday. Let the bells ring out." All that morning, Jojo stood and watched the horses arriving in the square. Every one of them was finer than the one before, and every one of them made him feel smaller and uglier than ever. There were black Arabian stallions with tossing heads, snorting as they came. There were grey Spanish mares with flowing manes, prancing as they came. Soon, all the finest horses in the city were there, and a huge crowd had gathered. As the noon bell sounded, the great Doge came out into the square with his daughter, and the grand parade began. The crowd clapped and cheered as all the horses trotted by. Then all of Venice waited silently to hear his choice. "My daughter is 10 years old today," he said, "so she is quite old enough to choose for herself." He turned to his daughter. "Now, my child," he said, "which one would you like?" The Doge's daughter walked slowly along the line of waiting horses, and then, at last, she turned away and pointed. "Over there," she said, pointing towards the 4 golden horses. "But you can't have them," laughed the Doge. "You can't have the golden horses. They belong to the people of Venice. They've been there for hundreds of years." "Not them," the Doge's daughter said. "I want that one over there, the one that's standing by the melons, father." The crowd gasped. "But that's a donkey. You want a donkey?"